We are back on the 0 Hour. Now, we were just talking about members of Congress who behave in ways that appear to be, at least to the intelligent observer's eyes, to be cynical, self-serving, and a disgrace to the responsibilities they hold. Now, speaking of which, Kevin McCarthy is considered the leading candidate, or was considered the leading candidate to take John Boehner's place as leader of the House Republicans. Now, Mr. McCarthy said this today, creating quite a stir. He was being interviewed by our old friend, Sean Hannity of Fox News, and Representative McCarthy said, and I quote, "Everybody thought Hillary Clinton was unbeatable, right? But we put together a Benghazi special committee, a select committee. What are her numbers today? Her numbers are dropping. Why? Because she's untrustable. But no one would have known any of that had happened had we not fought." Now, first of all, Mr. McCarthy, the word is untrustworthy, actually. But that aside, there's that old definition of a gaffe in politics being a moment when a politician accidentally tells the truth. There was a historic moment in the history of the Benghazi Committee this week when it became, and I want to make sure I'm right about this, the longest congressional investigation in history. It now clocks in at 1 year and 5 months and counting in length. The House Select Committee on Benghazi, longest running special congressional investigation in American history, according to The Hill. Now, costing an enormous amount of money and the attention of many senior officials. Now, Representative McCarthy has just said that the purpose of that committee was to see Hillary Clinton's numbers damaged by its investigation. Now, this is, of course, the subject of, or should be the subject of, great embarrassment to many Republicans. Mr. Representative Boehner has claimed in the past that this is a serious investigation. Other Republicans have suggested that Mr. McCarthy should apologize not to the public and not to Secretary Clinton, but to the victims of the Benghazi killings. In other words, the politicization of this event goes on and on and on. Now, we're not among those who defend either party's behavior when it comes to Libya and the Middle East. It has not been well thought out, but that's not at all the point here. The point is that the leadership of the party that controls the House of Representatives chose to use the power of that body for partisan political purposes, and the guy who was designated and considered the heir apparent to the leadership of that important group, the House Republicans, second most powerful group in the United States, next to the presidency, the administration, has outright admitted they're abusing the process for political purposes. But here's the other thing about it. For all the outrage in Washington, D.C. that Kevin McCarthy dared to say this is not a new thing for Republicans on the Hill by any means. Let's go back to Mitch McConnell. And by the way, the crazies who deposed John Boehner, the ultra right-wing crazies in the Republican Party, now they've set their sights on Mitch McConnell. But Mitch McConnell is kind of a Kevin McCarthy type himself. Let's go back to the days of when the Obama administration was new and Democrats controlled all three houses of Congress. He was asked in an interview, he had said that we need to say to everyone on Election Day, those of you who help make this a good day, help us finish the job. Now, what did he mean by that? He was asked, what's the job? The answer, the single most important thing we want to achieve is for President Obama to be a one-term president. Now, he was asked, does that mean endless or at least frequent confrontation with the president? He waffled on that one. But here's the point. Okay, you have the leading Republican in the Senate saying years ago, the single most important thing we want to achieve is for President Obama to be a one-term president. Not the single most important thing we want to achieve is to make this country healthier, to make this country stronger, to make this country safer, to give it a better economy, to provide leadership for the American people, a future for the American people's children. The single most important thing we want to achieve is to make President Obama a one-term president. That's just as bad as what Kevin McCarthy said about Benghazi. In both cases, it was political partisanship over love of country. And there is a word for people who consider their self-interest over the love of country when they are in public service. But I'll leave you to figure out what it is. But Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell, birds of a shameful feather flocking together. I'm Richard RJ Eskow, and this is The Zero Hour.